So I want to thank you, and I want to thank Mirsha for having me here. I've become very good friends with the Aspen Institute, and I know I'm supposed to come and talk about technology, but I also love hearing from Mircea, and I think Mircea might want to work at Facebook because he has this let's take action now, and this is what I hear in the technology world so often. The story that I always like to tell about this, whether you take action or not, is BlackBerry. A lot of people think Steve Jobs, Apple brought us the iPhone, but it was really BlackBerry. But then what happened is you had a group of people inside of BlackBerry who wanted to do things like take BlackBerry Messenger and make it open, not just for BlackBerry. And the people at BlackBerry were so mad at this lead president who wanted to do this. So what are you going to do if we open up BlackBerry Messenger? No one will buy BlackBerry because they can have it on any phone. That guy was fired. So somebody created something called WhatsApp. I'm sure you use WhatsApp. WhatsApp sold to Facebook for $22 billion. Today, BlackBerry's value, $5 billion, the whole entire company, because they had something, they didn't take action. They were the smartphone company. Now, who has a BlackBerry in here today? Me either. So here is this guy who had this great idea, and they said, no, we have a good enough, and they wouldn't take action, and so they lost it. So I love this energy that Mircea has, and I got to talk to you last night, and I love some of the things that you were telling me about technology and what Constanta can do with technology. So you talked about Constanta being a smart city. So I thought you were going to say something like smart cars, 5G, but you said something very different. You were talking about how you can apply this to the port and the boats. So what ways do you see Constanta becoming a smart city, especially with the port? I can give you mine.
Yeah, speaking about technology.
There's the BlackBerry.
Yes, I was speaking last night about the technology not for the sake of technology, but technology as a tool for development of the city. I was listening the Rompetrol manager speaking about a real issue, which is the lack of the people replacing the ones who are building the infrastructure we are using. And together with Ovidius University, with the Civil Maritime University of Constanța, with Naval Academy, we wrote a project which is called Digital Innovation Hub. It has two dimensions, pragmatical ones. One is to look on the Industry 4.0 to upgrade the human beings, not to do the, common works, the repeatable one, to replace them with robots, to do automatization, and the people to program and to do the quality check. Second one, it's on...
So like you say, instead of replacing, upgrading. Upgrading the humans.
Yes.
Let the automation do the job.
Yes.
And the humans do the programming.
Do the programming and the quality control. Second, because we are a CCT, sorry. We are looking not only on the sea, with the waves, the, let's say, romantic approach. The economical aspect is very important, and also the defense aspect is relevant. For each vessel, I think in few years, a cybersecurity officer will be on deck.
This is what really got my attention last night when you were talking about this.
Because nowadays, everybody is building the ships as platforms, not dedicated to only one mission, either in the civilian or in the military industry. Depending on the mission, you are replacing some parts on the platform, make it proper for the mission. It's a commercial or it's a military one. But everything is about sensors, technology, which comes with good aspects, but also with some risks. In order to avoid these risks, the cybersecurity will have to be mandatory soon, because nobody is going to invest, and we have here great investments uh, in the fleet. You are investing tons of money, energy, knowledge, and you are vulnerable if you don't take care of small aspects. So the young generation will be attracted on cybersecurity. Of course, there are many fields we can upgrade the technology, the existing technology, because we are living a time when a bucket of sensors costs less than a bucket of concrete. So this is important for roads, for pipes, for lightning, for everything. And the technology comes with some risks also. So cybersecurity, I think it's important, not only for the defense industry, but also for the civilian industry. And Constanta is already debating and preparing the new generation. Also in the entrepreneurship area, the University of Constanta launched a contest, some startup business, in order to embrace the future of these new, let's say, jobs, which are not existing today, but of course they are going to be for tomorrow on trend.
So when you talk about this type of cybersecurity for the ships coming in and out of Constanța, do you see Constanța as a place that's developing the sensors that are going to go on these ships? Do you see it as a place where the engineers are based who are going to be keeping these ships up to date? Do you see this as a base for the places where the cybersecurity officer is living and going on the ships, coming on and off the ships as they do their journeys? What role will they have? Because the technology can come from anywhere.
I think first we have to do here a proper field for testing, for laboratory. Second, to train and to certify. Instead of having permanent jobs here which are depending on the economy, we can invest in a powerful university center combined with startups, IoT, testing, and after that, after standards, certifying. Of course, I'm coming to oil and gas. I've met the mayor of Aberdeen a few weeks ago in a European program, Constanța, together with Antwerpen, Aberdeen, Trieste, and Klaipeda. We are involved in a medium-sized port cities like the engines of Europe. And I was asking him how the oil and gas transformed the city. Because everybody knows the history of Aberdeen and the present of Aberdeen. So Aberdeen is the capital of European capital of oil and gas. It's halfway to USA, let's say to Houston. Okay, and he presented me the good aspects, but also some, let's say, not so pleasant aspects. The prices are up. The parking seats in the port were bought by an oil and gas company, not the port management or the workers there. So the money are not, let's say, the most dynamic fuel, but the intelligence combined with technology and the wiseness to use them in the proper portion.
When I look at Romania, and I think, so what role could tech play here? And I have to say there's a lot of excitement. I'm meeting with investors all of the time on both sides of the Atlantic, and there's been a lot of excitement, especially since Fitbit made the acquisition of the wearable called Vector Watch. Ever since then, there's been a lot of focus on there, and also Clever Taxi as well, and the investment from the acquisition from Daimler. So there's a lot of thought, okay, we have a lot of companies coming from Europe, but a lot of the DNA is in Romania. So I see a lot of companies here, a lot of investors very excited about the potential here. But when I think about what model should they use, maybe you think I'm going to say Silicon Valley and Facebook, but for me, what really relates is Israel. Basically, for me, there are two tech hubs in the world, Silicon Valley and Israel. Since I live in London, I'm spending a lot of time in Israel. Israel, they know they're a small country, and the real genius of their startups is when they build a startup, they don't build the startup for Israel. They test it in Israel, but they do it with the intention of selling. And I think that could be one of the real opportunities for a tech hub here in Romania. Yes, they test it in Constanța, they test it on the ships, but always with their eye out. One of the companies, I'm talking about Israel, Aerobotics. It's a drone company, no drone operators. The drones fly themselves, and one of the biggest opportunities they see is in ports. The drone going out and guiding the ships in, cheaper, faster than a ship going out there. So what other, have you seen drones as an opportunity for the ports? What type of research or development does Constanța have with their eyes toward the skies for the seas?
In fact, last year we had an event with the Dutch embassy, was called Jump to Smart 2.0. And the first Romanian Institute for Drones was presenting the drones developed in Romania with multi-functions, cadastral measurements, surveillance, you name it.
I mean, this is what most people think that drones are going to be all about. We like the pretty pictures on CNN. It's great images for us. It helps us tell a story better. But the real money, measurements.
Yes.
All types of things. Measurements in ports, out
surveillance.
Exactly.
Also. Okay. But I've told you we have a national institute, which is a private one for drones. But they were amazed by the children of Constanța because they were presenting something they didn't expect it. They've combined a drone with a bionic hand in order to help the scuba divers doing the inspection for the offshore platforms. So nobody thought that the drones can be used underwater also. And this another dimension of using the drones was a surprise for the ones who were building drones, in fact. The particularity of this area is that we are, let's say, living a paradox. We are a city, a border city, but without borders. Here, people from all over the world are coming, and they feel like home because they find similar minds here. In fact, about oil and gas and security, technology is very important because, as you mentioned, it's cheaper. The port administration has also a program, an ambitious program in this field of technology. Also, the EBRD is switching the investment for the infrastructure. Municipal infrastructure usually means roads, pipes, bulbs, poles, you name it, buses, that's all. But the cities today, they have another type of infrastructure, which is smart infrastructure. And this means technology and people willing to implement technology, but also to develop technology. So I think this match between private and public sector can bring to Constanța an upgrade of infrastructure using energy, but technology is vital.
And when you talked about the students developing this underwater drone with the bionic hand, these are university students?
Now they are in college, and they just won the grand award in NASA contest. Constanța has many NASA awards. We have very good colleges in Constanța, and the universities are also increasing as importance in the life of the city, and I expect in the economical life of the city also.
Because this is really the secret of Israel and California, Silicon Valley. It's the universities. I mean, people don't even realize Stanford owns a portion of Google because it was developed at Stanford University. So what type of investment do you think you can make there? And I don't just mean money investment, But what type
So
of, how can you grease the wheels with the universities here?
in this moment, we are together in many projects, the city and the universities. They are building right now, they are applying for a project to build a technology transfer center, and the city is going to invest in a business center in order to take the transfer to implement it in startup and in the real life. Because we are thinking on the startups on international level, not only on local level. And we want to welcome here also the Cluj, the Cluj cluster in IT, because they are working very well with the ones in Ovidius University. Also in Ploiești we have traditional oil and gas. Also the oil and gas industry is upgrading the technology nowadays. Also, we have many risks. We have to take care of them. We have the shores, we have the Danube, we have to measure, to plan, to collect data. So there are so many opportunities in this field of technology, and I really want to send a message. We don't want to reinvent the wheel here. We want to bring here many companies presenting the products, the technology, and to adapt them to what is going to be, not on what it's only on the market. Because I've liked very much your story about the messenger. And I wanted to reply with the kids in the college, in the Mircea cel Bătrân College of Constanta. Use a drone for air, not
Use the drone.
Yes.
Well, and that's really the secret of Facebook right now, is that Facebook, people think of the core product, but Mark Zuckerberg was a genius in realizing Facebook's not going to last forever, so I'll buy WhatsApp, I'll buy Instagram, I'll steal from Snapchat their ideas and put them on Instagram. I mean, he just keeps and keeps on going while so many people criticize him. He's just looking for the next thing. But I'm also interested to know, how much risk are you willing to take? In the United States, there's a cultural aversion to investing in private companies. It just goes against who we are in America a lot of the time. So you see big controversy. There was some investment from Bush and Obama in solar panel companies, and then that went bust, and people said, oh, they were wasting our tax dollars. But then in Israel, for example, the complete opposite. I interviewed the chief scientist. They have a chief scientist in Israel, and his job is partly to invest in startups. And he said to me once, when a company fails, I call them up and I say, Mazel Tov, congratulations, you failed. I said, what? And he said, if they failed, that means they're so much closer to building a company that's successful. So that's better for the whole company, the whole country. Yeah, maybe they lost the government's money. It's not that much money. They invest a little bit. But he knows that that person is that much closer to becoming the next Mark Zuckerberg, or maybe the smaller Israeli equivalent. So how much risk are you, as the mayor of Constanța, with money, willing to take?
To be honest, it's a matter of legislation in this moment, but I must admit that we have to change our mentality. Failure is acceptable when you are speaking about innovation. Failure is acceptable when you are speaking about startups. Not all the startups are going to become huge companies. You have to accept this, and this is an important change in the mentality. As you said, we have also to take care of the ones who at least tried. And this combustion to do something, to try, to innovate, to do your best, should be rewarded. As a mayor, I want to discuss with the universities and with the business environment of Constanța to create an important part of the budget to be participative, or to create some schemes for helping startups to adapt on the local market with a global vision. Because sometimes you are as a mayor, you are just thinking to bring them here. But if you are keeping them as hostages, you have to let them fly. And
If you love something, you have to let it go.
Yes, and Constanta, it's a good place to think on a global dimension, not on a small scale.
And when I talk to investors now who are very excited about Eastern Europe, not just Romania, also Poland, and you hear so much about Ukraine as well, they come back to the roads. It seems like it always comes back to the roads, the infrastructure, or lack thereof in Romania. And they say moving stuff, getting from one place to another. What can you do now in Constanța, starting from Constanța, to help this problem? Because it's literally a problem that I'm hearing about living in London. We want to invest there, but we bring the goods in if we want to move it out, the roads.
In this moment, Constanța, the connection between Bucharest and Constanța, it's a good one. And I can testify that investing in infrastructure is boosting the economy of the city. Constanța economic growth faster than other cities because we have the highway linking Bucharest and Constanța. We have a ring road. We have dedicated roads for tourists, inhabitants, investors. So today we are looking on what we have, not on what we don't have. I'm a pragmatic guy. I don't design highways. I'm looking on my city and on the differences, or let's say the missing parts between the city and the port. Together with the port, we are upgrading constantly the infrastructure, the mobility, not only the roads, but also the railway. And the port has ambitious programs to upgrade the railway. We are working together for the roads. So my power as a mayor is to fix the problems on local level and to push things on regional and national level. Also, the air connection is important, and I'm encouraging the companies to come to Constanța. I'm doing advocacy for the airport management, and I have with the tourism operators, I'm having regular meetings with the companies. Come to Constanța, fly to Constanța. We are going to give you bonuses if you are coming to Constanța, not from public money, but good business opportunities in connection with the hotel owners, or let's say the ones in the touristical area. So on infrastructure, it's important, but today the main issue of Constanța is to use proper what we already have. And we have a channel linking the Black Sea and Danube, and we are not using it because the Danube, as everybody mentioned, is not used properly. We have the highway, but it's ending in Bucharest. So we have to push the things up to the central government to move forward. For the railway, we've met last night one of the operators, the private operators, the great operators, not only in Romania, but in Europe. And he was telling us how important it's to upgrade not only the infrastructure, but the mentality of the company of operating. So infrastructure, it's important, but today I see infrastructure not for the sake of infrastructure, connected with the real needs of economical operator and with technology.
And do you think that you're doing enough to celebrate the innovators? I think this is one of the great things.
No.
There, question answered.
No.
No, because the guys like the people behind Vector Watch, behind Clever Taxi, these people really have this elevated status in Israel, Silicon Valley, and what just one company can do. It's just amazing when those people are elevated and celebrated, not just for the money. Of course, people are intrigued by the money, but for what they've been able to contribute. That can create a whole chain reaction that I've seen in these communities where tech has become very successful.
I've answered very quickly no, because I don't know how to reward the innovators. So I think the politician they have to recognize their limitation. So I'm not good on everything, but I'm willing to learn. So I'm welcoming everybody to Constanta, and after that, together with the community, I'm going to do something. In this moment, I don't know what to do for innovators.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you from...
Because let's say, the agenda, it's full of urgent things, and the important ones are, let's say, hidden. And sometimes a gem, like a hidden gem, can bring much more prosperity than solving the urgent aspects. I was not aware about the importance of events, cultural events. So I've been in Cluj, and I've noticed what they've done in Cluj with a festival, an international festival with Untold. And okay, after that I said, guys, if you want to do something similar in Constanta, please come here and replicate it on another scale. I'm willing to do the same with the tech companies, and already with Ovidius universities we have a Google lab. We are in discussion with Microsoft. We had B2B meetings with AmCham. So please guide me. If you know innovators, send them to Constanta. The banks are here. The business environment is here. We are going to learn how to welcome and to reward them.
And I'll just finish by saying that I think this is one of the great things about America, that 20 years ago, people didn't really know who the CEO of ExxonMobil was. People didn't know who they were important in the business world, but the average Joe walking on the street didn't know who they were. Now, everybody in the United States and outside the United States knows that Mark Zuckerberg is CEO of Facebook, Bill Gates, Jack Dorsey, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. These have become the celebrated people. So whether it's university events or just pushing them and bringing them in local media, it makes a huge difference, especially in these cities. But thank you so much for having me
I thank
here.
you, and just to address you the invitation to be next year in Constanta.
With pleasure.
You've met last night the father, the author of Simona Halep. We have many good ambassadors of Constanta. We have Gheorghe Hagi, we have good businessmen. I hope you will have the opportunity to meet them. So I'm conveying to you and through you a message to the ones who are following you. Come to Constanta, you are going to discover a hidden gem.
With a view like this, it's not hidden at all. It's beautiful. Mr. Mayor, thank you.